Eviction Moratorium 2.0. What is going on? Let's get into it. According to the Census Bureau, approximately 3.6 million Americans are potentially facing eviction within the next 2 months, and the Aspen Institute says that over 15 million Americans are currently behind in making rent payments. More than 15 million people live in households that owe as much, get ready for this, owe as much as 20 billion. 20 billion with a B to their landlords, according to the Aspen Institute. So as of July 5th, roughly 3.6 million people in the U.S. said they face eviction in the next 2 months, according to the U.S. Census Bureau Household Pulse Survey. It's a lot higher than that. So the eviction moratorium finally expires, and Joe Biden overrides the U.S. Supreme Court and the U.S. Constitution. So once again, only Congress has the authority to extend the eviction moratorium. On June 29, 2021, 5 justices on the U.S. Supreme Court agreed that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, they lack the authority to implement a nationwide eviction moratorium. It's way out of their lane. It's not even close. However, the court also determined that the moratorium should remain in place until its expiration date on July 31st. So, in a concurring opinion, Justice Kavanaugh opinion that leaving the moratorium in place would allow for additional and more ordinary distribution of the congressionally appropriated rental assistance funds. Perfect. So Biden announces that the CDC extended the eviction moratorium for another 60 days past July. So unbelievable. And so what does the CDC, my question, what does the CDC have to do with rentals? What do they have to do with rents? Even White House Press Secretary Pesky admits a little too much in struggling to defend Biden's unlawful eviction moratorium power grab. Her excuses for the unprecedented Wiley Penn move did nothing to deflect from what the Wall Street Journal editorial board described. Wall Street editorial board described in a stinging open op-ed on Wednesday as the administration's premeditated lawlessness, they said. Biden admits in a TV interview, he said it's unconstitutional probably and illegal. So earlier this week during the press conference, Biden said most legal experts advise that a CDC eviction moratorium likely would not pass the constitutional muster. Any constitutionalist worth their salt knows that. So it's blatantly illegal. And he said we'll lose in the courts. They all said you're going to lose in the courts, but at least we get another 2 months. So this applies to 90% of the country. Landlords can't kick out renters who have not paid rent for over a year, way beyond a year. So let me ask a question. This is interesting. Are we legalizing stealing? That's a good question. Are we legalizing stealing? When you're living in someone else's home and supposed to be paying rent, and you're not paying, is that stealing? Yes, probably, most likely. Most landlords are middle class, by the way, and have mortgages, and they own their own, have their own bills on these properties they own. So the big landlords are going to get bailed out by the banks if they have any problems. So the Washington Post and the New York Times even said it's unconstitutional. Landlords hit the courts on unlawful CDC eviction moratorium, asked federal courts to intervene. The court filing comes on the heels of an order from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which critics say was issued in defiance of a June Supreme Court decision in which a majority of the justices found that the agency did not have the constitutional authority to take such an action. So later in the day, the Alabama Association of Realtors, along with other similar organizations, filed an emergency request arguing that the CDC's order is still unlawful and was only issued for nakedly, absolutely nakedly political reasons to ease the political pressure they were receiving on their side of the fence. And they want to shift the blame to the courts for ending the moratorium and use the litigation delays to achieve a policy objective 100%. So, in addition to the realtor group citing comments from President Joe Biden himself, in which, he said the courts made it clear that the existing moratorium was not constitutional. It was already ruled in the courts. It wouldn't stand. I looked at a comments section on this in a major publication. HM said the Democrats want to crush anyone who is responsible, hardworking, and saves enough to own a home or property or a small business. Why, in his opinion? People who own nothing and receive a stipend from the government are easier to control, in his opinion. Williams says, I am sorry, can someone enlighten me as to why we even need to continue the eviction moratorium if we have all these jobs out there that are unfulfilled right now and people just deciding not to go back to work? We have 10 million jobs right now available. I also think this may be a situation where the governors can press, they can pass a law that in their states stating there will be no eviction moratoriums. As we already know, the CDC does not have the authority to make such a law, and the president already knows what the ruling of the Supreme Court is. It's ridiculous. So the landlords, need to get to the courts ASAP right now. So when you talk about mom and pop operations that rent a small number of properties and have slim margins, are the landlords most affected by this moratorium, not the big landlords that are going to get bailed out by the banks. So, I pulled some numbers from the Department of Census data. Look at these numbers. Kind of 4 points here. 7.43 million in rental properties are not current. 5.95 million owner-occupied housing are not current. 8.71 million live in owner-occupied homes where the homeowners have little or no confidence in their ability to pay their mortgages, and 12.71 million live in rental properties where the heads of the households have little or no confidence in the ability to pay their rent. So right now, already, more than 500,000 Americans are homeless on any given night in this country. What will the number be after this unprecedented wave of evictions is over? Okay, it is what it is. So we are moving into deeply troubled times, and this wave of evictions has the potential to be a huge destabilizing force in our society. Congress spent trillions and trillions of dollars to lift people out of poverty, but it didn't work. Day after day, our corporate media outlets will be filled with tragic stories about people that are getting evicted. And, we will be told how evil the landlords are for throwing them out. But if landlords are not allowed to make money, there won't be any rental properties at all for these people that are not paying their rent. That's the bottom line. You can't just take one side for political reasons, and then the landlords, they're going to lose all their properties. Yes, the big corporations are going to come in and pick up these properties for the little guys. I know the end game of this, but it's going to have massive implications, and on the landlord side as well. It's just unprecedented, and the economy. And I know I don't want to get into the politics of this, but the bottom line, the purpose of this video is it's unconstitutional. The eviction moratorium right now, it's unconstitutional, and I know some people think the Constitution is an old document and we don't need to follow it. I'm not going to get into that argument, but the Supreme Court also ruled on this, and the CDC does not have the legal authority to do that. So, there has to be some pain. Millions of these people are just taking advantage of this and not working. We have 10 million plus jobs for these people that they can get jobs and work, and that's the bottom line, and they're taking advantage of this, and not continuing to work. And there are stories, and I've read a lot of stories of people that have taken their landlord's money and saved and had enough for a down payment and bought their own house. There's dozens of stories of this in the media. You got to find it in independent papers of people that are doing that. So this is, more people are taking advantage of this from what I know now than not. And that's the problem I have with this. You know, and we have people taking advantage of this, and it's unconstitutional what's going on. It's being extended, and you have all these people that aren't paying rent, and you have, you know, a forbearance issue going on right now. So you want to talk about a healthy economy on both sides of the fence, and we've discussed this over and over. It's not. When you have this many homes in forbearance, more than you did in 2008. And if they all came to market right now and foreclosed, it would be biblical. So, you know, this order is unconstitutional. Our landlords are hurting out there right now. A lot of landlords that provide housing for the people not paying. Thanks for your time. Take care. Be kind.